Today's video is brought to you by Redskins Clash, because the images that you are seeing today are from Redskins fans who were making fun of RG3 right after his injury with the Jaguars. That's right, and it also sparked the anger within other Redskins fans. So Redskins fans, understand this very quickly. Even though you play us on Sunday, you have a lot of policing to do on your own, since now there's a lot of fighting on Twitter talking about who's a real Redskins fan and who's not. I suggest you get it together. We are back on sports, and yes, I am pissed off. And I want to talk about this. Before I get started on anything else, before I start talking about the Eagles, I understand you see it in the comment section, in the title section about Ray Rice in the update. That's because that was by fan request, because apparently last week I didn't make my point known enough. Alright? But that's what these videos are for. Alright? So that we don't have a miscommunication. And that's what the comment section is for. Alright? But I have noticed, and I've done this enough for years to know, when the NFL starts back up, or the NBA starts back up, or whatever sport starts back up, there's an influxuation of idiots who decide they want to pour into the comment section or contact me on Twitter. We are going to talk about this. It's mostly NFL as opposed to NBA, MLB, or whatever. It is. Right? Everyone thinks that they know what the hell they're talking about when they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And we're going to talk about this today, because last night, alright, during the Eagles game, I got a message from one Lakers true fan. So that should tell you already what this person's already about, alright? Lakers true fan is going to talk about how he is a true Eagles fan. Lakers true fan is a true Eagles fan. And he sent me 4 paragraphs, damn near an editorial, alright, on how I'm a bad Eagles fan. That's right, from last week's video. I'm a bad Eagles fan because I didn't get on the Eagles enough. Because I tried to make it seem it was all positive. So I'm a bad fan. Anybody who has watched me since 2010 knows, because obviously he's made himself look like an idiot already, because he didn't do his research. Since 2010, I have sat here and called out the Eagles time after time after damn time. Don't sit here and tell me you're going to sit here and call me a bad fan because I highlighted the positives for once that's going on. Matter of fact, everything I said from 2010 up to last year, I called the Eagles out on. Did I not? And I've called it, and I've been 100% correct every time. So don't sit here and tell me that I'm a bad fan due to the fact you want to challenge my fan base and then champion yourself about how you're a true Eagles fan, true Lakers fan. No. No videos up of the Eagles. Not at all. Don't talk about the Eagles. Not at all. Alright? And then you're going to sit here, and you know how this goes, because he got so upset about what I said about Deshaun Jackson. Don't you talk about Deshaun Jackson? Oh my God, he had a great season last year. Should we talk about how he is a system player? Should we talk about that? No? If you don't believe he's a system player, then that means he's a standout star, correct? Okay, and this is where I'm going to put you in a box. Because the Redskins decided they wanted to get Deshaun Jackson. That's right. Because of his explosiveness, he can be a decoy for other receivers. He can go out there and he can catch the long ball because he's so fast, right? He can be an impact player. What did he do last week? Nothing. What did he do this week? He got injured, did he? Yeah, he did. So, let's get something straight here. For you to sit here and say Deshaun Jackson is an impact player, since you don't want to believe that he's a system player, okay? If he's an impact player, then you hold him up to that standard. That means if he doesn't perform, that means you hold him accountable. We've seen this for years with the Eagles when it comes to, he's not getting off the block. He's getting jammed. He doesn't show up in the playoffs. What kind of Eagles fan are you to sit here and not see these things? We have a short week against the Redskins, who are coming off of a hot game. And understand, Redskins fans, I'm telling you now, we play you on Sunday. It's a short week, and I want to talk about this a little bit more as well. Alright? Kirk Cousins played a hell of a game. For those who don't know, I will put a link in the info bar for you Redskins fans. Alright? That Jay Gruden thought that Kirk Cousins was the systematic quarterback. He was the prototype for this system he is making. But because of the Redskins organization and pushing RG3, they tried to make him a pocket passer. Understand, throughout the years, yes, it's great to be a mobile quarterback because you have to be able to avoid the rush, but you also have to be a pocket passer. Okay? Look at Montana. Look at Elway. Look at Bernie Kosar. Look at Vinny Testaverde. Look at Warren Moon. All these people were pocket passers. And I say this because you have to understand, if they stay in their spot, there is a problem. I will talk about this in a minute. If they stay in their spot, they will execute. But if you rush them and pressure them off their spot, and we saw this with the Patriots 2 weeks ago with Brady, okay? He can't do anything. Because he can't get away. Kirk Cousins played a hell of a game last week on Sunday. I look forward to this short week against the Redskins. But understand, and I'm going to call out another person. I just called out Lakers, who was a true fan, Kobe Foy. That's right. I find it funny that we have these, these Laker, references going on here. He gets on me on Twitter because of the game. It was like an hour afterwards. The Eagles won. They came back. They won against the Colts. Right? I say, the first half of the Eagles game was piss poor. Okay? I'll explain that in a minute. I say that we have a lot of injury problems against the short week against the Redskins. He tells me, shut up. You're being too negative. When I'm just simply kicking facts. Yes, so on one side, I'm being called not a true fan because I'm being too positive against the Eagles. And on another side, I'm being called too negative, so I should just shut up. So I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't on here. So as far as I'm concerned, Kobe Foy, Lakers true fan, if you're two people or if you're the same person, I don't know. But if you want to take this route, first off, like I told you, get your head out of your ass. Because understand that with those injuries, I'll be damned if Casey Matthews is going to start on defense over Michael Kendricks. He couldn't get any pressure. 2 plays in, he was a liability. He couldn't get any pressure on the quarterback, so that takes him off his spot. So he can't make those throws. He was getting exposed in coverage and missing tackles. As far as I'm concerned, this guy has not made, he's not earned his paycheck. But understand that the Eagles are very thin at linebacker, which is why in the draft they wanted to get linebackers. You understand that, right? So if you two people, if you're two different people, I'm challenging you right now. That's right. Via stream, via Skype, for the world to see. We can talk sports. We can talk Eagles football since you think you're so damn good. Hell, if you wanted to, we can bring all the other Eagles commentators in here on YouTube, on Twitter. We can have a roundtable discussion if you wanted. Either way, I'm challenging you since you think you're so good. Since you think you know so damn much. That's not all. And I'm telling you about more idiocy. Because last week, on Thursday night with the Bears, that's right, was it Thursday night? No, it wasn't Thursday night. The Bears, when they played the 49ers on Sunday. That's right. I'm not going to talk about Bears 49ers. No. Steelers Ravens. Thursday night. That's right. Steelers fan contacts me. Alright? And tells me, and I'm going to give you a little insight. Just to go to show you, because when you see these videos, I'm not giving you 100%. You understand that, right, when it comes to football knowledge. I said that Mike Tomlin was responsible for the Steelers defense. Steeler fan gets mad at me and says, hey, no, it's Dick LeBeau because he's the one calling the plays. Right? Okay. Now I want to say this. Dick LeBeau does not have, the final say. The head coach has the final say. He's the head coach. And I said to him, you have to understand that this is Mike Tomlin's responsibility because he brought Dick LeBeau on. And when I said that, he said, Dick LeBeau's been here for years, which means you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Understand, because apparently he didn't know about the review process in football. At the end of the season, and the beginning of the season, you have a coaching review process, okay? Which means who stays, who goes. If Mike Tomlin decides to retain Dick LeBeau's services, he's bringing him back on. That's what it means. He's bringing him on. He brought him on. It's not a hard concept to understand, okay? Then he says, but this does have the final say. Mike Tomlin doesn't check what Dick LeBeau says. Oh, yes, the hell he does. Because there are more eyes on that field than you think. And I'll explain. If Dick LeBeau calls a play, and Mike Tomlin decides he doesn't like what he sees on that field, he's going to override his authority. The same thing when you have line coaches, they see something different. You have guys in the booth who see something different, and you have your players, middle linebacker, who is usually the quarterback of your defense. They can make adjustments. They can call audibles if they see something different. There are so many eyes on that field. You have to be kidding me if you think if Dick LeBeau decides we're going to run this play, that everyone's just going to be like, okay, that's it. No, it doesn't work that way. It goes through a number of channels before they decide, okay, and they have to make these decisions within a number of seconds, within the play clock, because you never know when the offense is going to call hike. So don't give me this. And here's the thing, with that Steelers fan, he actually said, no, you know what? I can't debate with you. You're right. At least he had enough heart to step up and say, you know what? You're right. I can't debate with you on this. You know, I said that you didn't know what you were talking about with football, and you just proved it. You know, you're right. I can't debate with you. At least he was man enough to step up and say something. Unlike the rest of these two idiots. Now let's talk Eagles football. Okay? Eagles football first half. For those who do not know, this is something that is becoming an epidemic. And it's not just the first 2 weeks. If you go back from last season, all right, even in playoffs, this was a problem. All right? First half scoring is a problem. They can move the ball up the field, and I'm getting tired of seeing sideways plays. You got to throw downfield. All right? You have to. You have to. I'm not trying to hear this. But also, they are not scoring. They have a number of opportunities, and people are dropping the ball. Yes, I'm looking at you, Riley Cooper. I put it like this. If Riley Cooper can't get the job done, then you give Jordan Matthews his chance to try. It is that simple. There is no reason you should be dropping passes in the end zone in the first half. This game should have been a clear-cut win for us. It should have been. But because of, opportunities and missed opportunities, it made it look bad. Cody Parkey missed a kick, and then also that looked bad. But within all of this, before the game started, understand the media was always against us. Remember, they said that we were going to the Super Bowl this year. Didn't the media say that? ESPN decided to show their picks for the Eagles-Colts game, and this is how it went down. And after the Eagles game, what did I do to ESPN? For those who follow me on Twitter, right to them. What did I say? Thank you for your support, ESPN. Sincerely, Eagles fans. And sent that picture. But that's not all. Eagles fans, you have to understand, nobody picked us to win this game. Not even our local media.
That is a big boy win in week number 2. When you looked at the first part of the schedule, you thought this one might be tough. It turns out it was tough, all right. It was tough for the Indianapolis Colts. Let them eat dirt. Brian Westbrook is here. Ray Dittinger is here. The Gov's here. And the Eagles are 2-0, courtesy of Cody Parkey's 36-yarder twice to end the game, 30-27. Let me see. Did you pick him to win?
No.
Did you pick him to win?
I did not.
Did you pick him to win? I picked him to win. Okay.
Brian Westbrook. Matter of fact, all media. I am sick and tired of you people picking against us. It is week 2. And you're picking against the Colts. What is it about Andrew Luck, that this magical unicorn of Andrew Luck, that you think that they can just beat us within a whim? I'm trying to figure this out as if they didn't have a fighting chance, media. I want to know why. And you know what? We've seen this before with Brian Westbrook. Because last year, and Eagles fans, I'm calling you on it. Last year, you decided that you were just going to let this slide. But Brian Westbrook, he decided to pick the Dallas Cowboys. That's right, the Dallas Cowboys to beat us. Look, let's get something straight. I don't care how good the Dallas Cowboys could have been. I don't care if they would have been the Super Bowl champions last year. You do not pick Dallas to beat us. And you're an ex-Eagle. You do not pick Dallas to beat us. You can simply say, it's going to be a tough game. We can see what the Eagles are going to do. But you do not pick Dallas to beat us. That is one game two games, sorry, because we meet them twice. There's 2 games we are supposed to win. The same thing with the Giants. You sit here and you pick against us? No way in hell am I going to sit here and say, Brian Westbrook is a good commentator. Just because you played for us doesn't mean you're a good analyst. Understand that really quickly, Brian Westbrook. Yeah, I got a problem with it. And I don't understand how Eagles fans don't have a problem with it as well. But I'm not a true fan, right? I'm not the true fan. We can have guys who accuse me of not being a true fan talk about how great Deshaun Jackson is. Mind you, do I need to remind people how Deshaun Jackson bagged on Eagles fans a couple weeks ago saying they're not great fans? But you're still going to kiss his ass, right? Yeah. Anyways, I want to move on to the Giants. Because Giants fans were bagging on us and saying, we didn't deserve the win last night. I will put it like this. The way the Eagles played, I am shocked that they did win. But I sat there and I rooted for my team because that's what you're supposed to do. But don't get it twisted. There are a number of problems that we are saying play calling wise. Do not get in the red zone. We've seen it for 2 weeks now. All right? They did a little bit of it last night. But the first week, all right, red zone, you got the best running back in the league. And you got a double threat with Darren Sproles. And you're going to tell me you're not going to run the ball? You're going to throw the ball in the red zone? If you're going to throw the ball in the red zone, at least let it be play action. Or at least an option where Nick Foles, because Nick Foles can run. At least do that, Chip Kelly. But you're not doing that either. No. You decide you're just going to just run it out and get smashed up on. The Colts should have not been able to stop us for a number of times on offense. And we saw, when you speed up that clock, when you decide that no huddle, they can't hang. Matter of fact, the last two teams couldn't hang. This is what the Eagles football is all about, and this is what we do. Then you should sit there and you should just revel in it. You should. You can't become a happy offense all the time, because I'll put it like this. There were shades of Andy Reid out there last night and last week. There were. Red zone offense is becoming a problem. You have to score. You do. But it seems like we're supposed to just be complacent about this. And this is me. If you want to say this is me being negative, okay, fine. No. It's me being critical, because this is what I do. It's that simple. I've called the Eagles out more than enough times to know this. All right? And we still see some of these problems. Jeremy Maclin is not getting open enough. All right? Riley Cooper is not getting open enough. But I'll put it like this. The Eagles receivers combined still have more yards than Deshaun Jackson. Still. I'm not trying to hear it. I don't understand on that play when Jeremy Maclin got the ball late in the game. He decided to try to juke somebody in the third quarter, and he's got 3 defenders coming to him. Why are you not running right? Why are you trying to go through them? I understand you want to prove your toughness, but that's not what we need right now. We need points. And it seems like people forget that. Keep it in perspective. Darren Sproles, MVP. Shady and Darren Sproles last night, MVPs, man. They've been carrying this team. These receivers do have to get open. If they cannot get open on the long ball, then you need to start working those slants a lot more. Or those square ends a lot more. Nick Foles has been checking down a lot. He missed a lot of throws last night. A lot. Even ones that were just, side passes, so that you could just throw it right to him and then just run up the field. He missed a lot. And then media was like last night on Twitter, despite his 300 and something yards, he was saying he missed throws. Yeah, he's right. You can't sit here and say that he's not. He missed a number of accurate passes, which should have been there. Passes behind players, passes overthrown to players, interceptions that shouldn't have been happening. And that was great defense by the Colts last night on that interception. It was. You can't even take it away from the guy. But Maclin also could have fought a little bit more on that. If you're not going to catch the ball as a receiver, you try and bat it down so the defense doesn't get a turnover. We know this. But it seems like we're supposed to be complacent. So, like I said, if I'm negative, then I'm a bad fan. If I'm positive, I'm a bad fan. But like I said, Giants fans also felt that we shouldn't win the game. Giants fans, you have no room to speak. You are 0-2, and understand it's plays like this that make your team look bad.
But they don't miss a beat. Matthew back today. Haven't seen for a snap yet. Pressure on Manning. Sack. Fumble. Cardinals football.
So while the Giants are talking to Eagles fans about how lucky we are, all right, understand that video shows discipline problems. You should be worried about your own team. You had a chance to win that game on Sunday against the Cardinals, and you shot yourself in the foot a number of times. How dare you sit here and talk about how we're lucky? No, I don't want to hear it. Okay? Once you start winning games, then you can talk. Now let's move on, okay? Because I want to talk about Ray Rice. Now, a lot of people kind of, in the comments we talked, you kind of misunderstood what I was saying about Ray Rice. And you were saying, because your stance was, well, you didn't see the whole video event. She hit him first. I don't care if she hit him first. Understand, Ray Rice is damn near 3 times that his wife's size. Okay? He is in no impending danger. Matter of fact, there's report that he spit in her face before he hit her. I'm not trying to hear that is okay. And in the comments, we talked and we agreed. He should have walked away from the situation. He should have. As soon as she hit him, he should have been like, oh, really? You going to hit me? Then guess what? I'm going to leave you right here. And walk away and just leave her there. That would have sent the message, okay? But instead, he decided to play the wrong card. And this is where he is today, on top of lying about it. Now people are saying, well, he didn't hit him. He didn't hit her, I'm sorry. He slapped her. It's the same force. You have to understand that damn near his slap can be just as dangerous to a person who is that delicate. And I'm not calling her a delicate flower. I'm talking about her frame, her size. Okay? It can be just as damaging. And for those who do not understand what's going on, Ray Rice is a trained boxer as well, because he's admitted it on Twitter. He's been training in boxing for 2 years. Now, as we know, as the new information has come out, the media is saying that Roger Goodell, because the police department came out and said they gave him the information, they gave him the video months ago. So now they're saying that Roger Goodell knew about this. And then James Harrison came out, who I don't understand why he's even speaking. Okay? James Harrison came out and started taunting Roger Goodell. I will put the link in the info bar to see, his tweets towards Roger Goodell. And then fans were praising James Harrison. Why are you praising James Harrison? Did you forget that James Harrison also has a case against him when he was assaulting his girlfriend? That's right. I'll put the link in the info bar for that. And as soon as I sit down on Twitter, here comes stupid fans again. You need to shut up about James Harrison. People meat riding James Harrison. You gotta be kidding me. So we're supposed to overlook what James Harrison has done to his girlfriend, alright? But it's okay to condemn Ray Rice as well. You've got to be kidding me. And on top of this, you people sent me on Twitter about what Stephen A. Smith said, because for those who don't know, the National Organization of Women has come out and said, because Roger Goodell knew about this, or at least they believe that he has, alright, that he should be relieved of his position. And then all of a sudden, everyone got mad. I don't understand this, okay? Because fans have been calling for Roger Goodell to be removed ever since the rule changes. I don't understand all of a sudden why he should be, exempt of this. Stephen A. Smith came out, one of you sent me, the video, and I will put it in the info bar, where he goes on a tirade about the National Organization of Women wanting him to be removed. And it's funny, because fans also had said last year, because they challenged him last year and said, wait a minute, you said Goodell should be removed anyway. Now all of a sudden you want to stick up for Goodell. It makes no sense. So once again, Stephen A. Smith is putting his foot in his mouth, okay? He's already been suspended once for this. And we've already seen on his Twitter where he's got into a number of fights with women because he doesn't believe, and I'm saying this, yeah, I'm saying it, he doesn't believe it's a serious issue when it's a very serious issue. When does it become a serious issue, Stephen A. Smith? Huh? When more people do it? Because we can go back, if you want. James Harrison, Des Bryant hit his mom, Brandon Marshall. We can go back to all these other things. Other serious issues where players like Dante Stallworth was drunk and ran over people. Pac-Man Jones went to strip clubs and was punching strippers and bodyguards. We can go back. And yet none of these guys, you didn't have a problem with that, it seems. I don't understand this, Stephen A. Smith. But once again, he goes on a tirade when not having all of the information. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, on an interview with ESPN, the National Organization of Women said that this is bigger than Ray Rice. Even though this is focusing on Ray Rice, it's also bigger on Ray Rice. Well, I'm sorry. Bigger than Ray Rice.
The primary function of this investigation will be for Robert Mueller to find out, A, whether or not the commissioner knew that tape was in the building, whether or not he saw it, who saw it, and also why he didn't know that they had the tape in the building, if indeed the tape was there. Is there anything that this investigation, Terry, could unveil that would make you change your mind on calling for the commissioner to resign?
No, and part of the reason that we are still calling for the commissioner to resign is precisely that he set up this investigation. We have doubts about whether it is truly independent. Mr. Mueller's law firm represents the NFL. That sounds like an inside investigation, which has a role to play in anything like this, but it is not the independent investigation that we've called for. We have also said that the investigation needs to be wide-ranging, system-wide. This investigation is intended to solely focus on the Ray Rice incident. The questions are important, they need to be answered, but they are just a small part of the real investigation that we're calling for.
Now, during all of this domestic dispute and violence, we have seen a number of people come out and support Ray Rice, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We've seen a number of people try to play, the card and say, hey, you should trust us. And I want to talk about the Panthers. That's right, Carolina Panthers. I have to talk about this. Before I start on the Carolina Panthers, understand, I love Carolina, all right? I've been to Raleigh, North Carolina for vacation. I have driven, number of hours to get there, to have beachfront, property, to be right there. The people have always been nice to me. I've always traveled to North Carolina, okay? I don't have a problem with the Panthers organization. But understand, what the Panthers owner did last week when he accepted a humanitarian reward and then went on about domestic violence, it makes him look like a hypocrite. Let's get to that right now.
Standing before you tonight, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge an issue weighing heavily on our society. And when it comes to domestic violence, my stance is not one of indifference. But I stand firmly against domestic violence, plain and simple. To those who would suggest we've been too slow to act, I ask that you consider not to be too quick to judge. Over the course of our 20 years, we have worked extremely hard to build an organization of integrity and learn to trust your community.
Clearly, Mr. Richardson, very emotional on the topic, crying, in fact, and yet he has a convicted abuser, convicted on 2 counts of domestic violence, taking the playing field for him.
That's right, Greg Hardy. He has been convicted of this, all right? It's not due process anymore, okay? Even though it's an appeal, understand that he's been convicted. That means he should not be playing. If you're going to make it this serious, then he needs to be taken off the field. Now, understand, people, all right, that during the week, the Carolina Panthers, they said that they were going to play Greg Hardy, all right? Then 90 minutes before the game, they decided to pull him. They also said already that he's back at practice and he's playing. He's still getting paid. So he's got, that's why they want him to play. Let's be honest here. This is about winning. This is not about moral construct, all right? So let's call it what it is. But you can't come out and make these type of speeches and cry and carrying on when you have a guy on your roster who's already done it. You can't do that. It makes you look bad. And we're seeing more. I told you, I said I was going to show more people in support of Ray Rice, all right? Because this is blown up now. It's getting bigger and bigger. I'm telling you now, people, this is going to get worse before it gets better. Paul George, his absolutely stupid comments. That's right. After everyone had so much sympathy for him after what happened with his injury during the FIBA championships, or should I say the FIBA series, as we know, the U.S. won, the medal for it, the gold medal, okay? Paul George decided to come out and speak in support of Ray Rice.
Domestic violence, the mentality and the culture that supports it, it's been part of the discussion surrounding Ray Rice and this NFL scandal. And here's proof of why the talk is needed. This is from Paul George earlier today. The Indiana Pacer wrote, "Keep it 100, let's act on this police violence like we acted on this Ray Rice case. Stay strong, homie." And he continued to tweet, "If you in a relationship and a woman hit you first in attacking you, then you obviously ain't beating her. Homie made a bad choice. Stay up. I don't condone hitting women or think it's cool, but she ain't tripping, then I ain't tripping. Let's keep it moving. LOL, let that man play," talking about Ray Rice. He then texted this to ESPN's Mike Wells. "It's not cool to hit women, I know that, and that's not what I'm saying. I would never condone that. I was originally just trying to say if we're going to come down hard on Ray Rice, come down hard on all crime."
Actually, no. Paul George, that's not what you're saying. Now, I do agree that police brutality should be. I've talked about this on video before about why aren't there any, 5K walks for police brutality and things of that nature. I've said this before. So while I agree with Paul George about we should, take all crime to that issue, all right, and get on them, that's not what he's saying here. He is using, for those who are not smart enough, okay, he is using police brutality as a stance, as a tent pole in his stance to support Ray Rice. Laugh out loud. Let that man play. I don't see what's so funny. But this is what he's saying. If she ain't tripping, I ain't tripping. You have to understand, not only is this the mentality, you're giving the media ammo on top of not being articulate about it. So yes, Paul George, you made yourself look bad. Now, for people who want to support Paul George, you have to understand fans are going to support him. All right? No matter what he says, because you have people out there, no matter what he says, they're going to support him. Let's be honest here, okay? And even though he was trying to make that right turn, let's be honest here. He made a U-turn and went backwards, okay? He tried to use police brutality or all crime as that excuse to support Ray Rice. Let that man play. Stay up, homie. Understand what he is saying. He is supporting Ray Rice. This is not about all crime. He used that slightly. And people who are going to support him are going to say, like I said, you're going to support him, they're going to praise him, they're going to say, we understand what you're saying. But you have to understand, Paul George, that other people are not going to take that. Especially organizations.
Quickly got word from the NBA that they are looking into it, and then came this statement from the Pacers president of basketball operations, Larry Bird. Paul George's tweets from earlier were thoughtless and without regard to the subject of domestic violence and its seriousness in society. We've talked to Paul to strongly express our displeasure, made it clear that the NBA and the Pacers organization will not condone or tolerate remarks of this nature. Paul understands that he was wrong and why his tweets were so inappropriate and is very apologetic.
Backtrack. The sequel, as far as I'm concerned. Because we've seen a number of people, for those who don't know, Floyd Mayweather said the same thing. Oh, Ray Rice should play. It's wrong. And then when they asked Floyd Mayweather, well, how do you feel about the issue? Did you see the tape? He said, no, I didn't see the tape. So why the hell are you speaking on an issue that you didn't even see? I want to know that. But that's here or there. Understand, with athletes, you have to understand people, before you buy their jerseys, before you cheer them, understand, not all of them are role models. Charles Barkley has said this for years. I am not a role model. So understand that you cannot sit here and let your child growing up to see this and say, it's okay. Still wear that man's jersey. Still collect that man's baseball cards or basketball cards or plaques, or get his autograph, or highlight him. I put it like this, because if the media was so serious about this, if it was that big of an issue, you would not show any more highlights or any more praise for these athletes. You wouldn't. If it's that serious. But media, it's not. And like I said, last week, some of you said, well, they're not telling the whole truth. They're not showing everything. We know by now, and I've said this for years on here, we know by now that the media, even if it means ending an athlete's career, they will exploit them to keep their own career going. I find it funny that TMZ, out of all places, would get, that elevator footage of Ray Rice before ESPN, if they're the worldwide leader of sports. Do you understand that these people are not investigating? They are not going that far, for journalists. They're not going that far. They're going as far as their nose takes them. That's it. Also, probably TMZ has a higher payout at this point. But it goes to show you, if people trust TMZ before they trust, ESPN, that should tell you something. It is sad that this is what it's come to. The media is not doing a good enough job, whether it is worldwide or local. They are not. There are a number of things that they are not even praising. So let's focus on Ray Rice. Let's focus on Adrian Peterson. Let's focus on Greg Hardy. But let's not focus on War Machine. For those who don't know, the MMA fighter who beat his girlfriend damn near to death, and he's in jail now for it. But they don't talk about that. They go as far as their nose takes them. So don't sit here and tell me it's okay. And they're on this high moral ground. Like I said, when players have done worse, they have not condemned them. They've had Dante Stallworth back on their show since then. On First Take, they had him. And this is after he, hit and ran and killed somebody. But you had him. You got Ray Lewis on your show, don't you? You got all these players on your show who have done bad things. And now you want to come down on this. Don't all of a sudden act like you're going to be the hand of judgment. Because you're not. It is sad. Matter of fact, some of the people that you work with, some of these anchors, they've abused their wives. Have they not? I believe we saw some stuff with Dan Patrick cheating on his wife. There were so many people. What was that other guy? Jay Mariotti. He was beating on his wife. You had him on TV for a long time, didn't you? Like I said, man, I'm not trying to hear this. ESPN does this time and time again. Keyshawn Johnson not too long ago. If you go back and look at his record about stalking ex-girlfriends and beating them, come on, man, get out of my face with this. But he's still on NFL Live, isn't he? Or whatever. Doing Come On, Man. I don't want to hear this, man. Speaking of mentally deficient, and we're going to talk about this right now. Penn State. That's right. Within all this situation going on, because no one highlights positives, okay? Because no one talked about the Cincinnati Bengals, all right? And what they did for, their player and their daughter that has cancer. No one talks about that, though. But Penn State. NCAA slipped in within all this confrontation, all this scandal, because that's what they love to call it, scandal, whatever, all right? Slipped in and pulled the ban from Penn State after what happened with Jerry Sandusky. And this is how Penn State fans and their alumni, also their students, this is how they acted from the ban being lifted.
Chris, when the NCAA takes punitive action against one of its member schools, it is almost always final. Yesterday, in a move few saw coming, the NCAA reversed field on the sanctions levied against Penn State for the Jerry Sandusky scandal and lifted all of the remaining sanctions effective immediately. The initial punishments against Penn State would have banned them from playing in a bowl game or Big Ten title game until the 2016 season. They are now eligible this season. Penn State also will have a full allotment of 85 scholarships next season. They would have been limited to just 80 scholarships. And the news was met on the Penn State campus with jubilation. Students celebrating the news in a peaceful celebration, chanting the name of former head coach Joe Paterno and using the school's trademark cheer, "We are Penn State." The school's progress in reforming the athletic department was the genesis to yesterday's reversal. Next hour, hear Danny Cannell and Paul Feinbaum with their thoughts on the change.
I don't understand how you can be that excited. You understand that this is about those victims, those children. Because for those who did not see Penn State last year, right, or even coming up to this year, the interviews, it's us against the world. Really. It's you against the world. You understand that this is about those victims. There's a reason why your football team was taken out, of playoff contention. Because now, they're coming up with the playoff brackets now. All right? There's a reason why you weren't allowed to go to bowls. This is not about you. This is not about football. All right? But you want to keep making it as though everything's okay now since you got football back. That is disgusting. Joe Pa himself came out and said he could have done more at that time to stop these crimes. And then what do? You chant his name? You bring up cardboard cutouts? Hey, Joe Pa. He said himself he could have did more, which means he didn't live up to the responsibility. And you want to sit here and praise that, Penn State fans? Are you serious? That's disgusting. You really need to check yourselves, because this isn't about you. That is arrogance at its finest. It's disgusting. There's a reason why people left. All right? There's a reason. Players. There's a reason. They didn't want to be a part of it because they saw what happened. And how they can hide this for so long. You want to brush that under the rug and think, it's old stuff. We shouldn't have to be punished for it. It just came out not too long ago, so yeah, the franchise or the college is going to be punished for it then. But, for you alumni, you higher learning students, you don't see this? That's sickening. I'm done with this. I really am. But understand, I want to at least, end this on a positive note, somewhat, because you know how mad I am right now. Yesterday, I went over to Star Gardens, basketball renovations, okay? And for those who know have been keeping up on me on Twitter, you know I went over there again. I gave them the basketball nets. I took a picture of me with the basketball nets showing you, hey, I got them. You know, I'm going to give it to them. When I gave them the basketball nets, they sat there and thanked me for 10 minutes. 10 minutes! That's right. I have never seen so much gratitude in my life over such something that's so, dare I say, trivial? I don't even want to say trivial. Those 3 nets, they were $15. All right? $5 a net. $15. 3 nets. And they said, they changed the tide of things over there. Because they kept saying, the one guy, I thought he was getting ready to cry. I had to tell him, no, they're just nets. They're basketball nets, dude. It's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? It's not. But they talked about how, because of things like this, they have, you know, a renewed faith in the community. That basketball players are trying to make things right. And because of that, they decided, because they said that the other nets that went down is because players were pulling them. They thought that players were pulling on them. And I'm going to talk about this because basketball players don't know what I'm talking about, okay? They said that players were pulling on them so that, you know, they didn't want to put the other nets up. That's why they put up the steel nets, okay? The chain nets, all right? And to be quite honest, I'm kind of a sucker for chain nets to a minute because if you ever, you knock it down a shot, you can hear that. It's like a payoff. It's like you're cashing out, you know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. The fact is, they decided now that they're going to put up signs saying, respect our court and don't do this. And they're going to hold meetings with other basketball players. And I said before, you know, I need to talk to younger basketball players and let them know not to pull on the nets and things of that nature. They're going to hold meetings with basketball players now in the community. And all of this because of 3 nets. Over $15. That's all it took to change the tide of what's going on here. I went there yesterday. We're already talking about painting the court. Y'all saw on Sunday. That's why I sent y'all that thing on Sunday. Basketball courts in Japan. And you saw what those courts looked like. That was the testing ground to see what people thought about them. Like I said, I stayed 10 steps ahead of the game. Because I got plans. But it's great to see that these things are happening. Like I said, $15 changed, you know, the outlook of what somebody thought of the community. $15. You could have bought some beer with that. You could have bought some food with that. Hell, you could probably buy a cheap used game for that. $15. That's all it took. I'm glad to say that those nets went to good use. Especially seeing the reaction from those things. Because those reactions, that gratitude, that's priceless. You can't script that. But it's great to see that. Like I said, this is just the beginning of things to come. Because as you know, you have to keep maintenance up on things. Basketball players, you have to be more responsible. And I want to talk about this right now. When they said players are pulling on nets, yes, players pull on nets, but also there are times where nets come unraveled when you're playing. And for those who know, if that one piece of net comes unraveled on a hook on the rim, if you keep playing with it unraveled, you know and I know that the other ones will come unraveled. This is why basketball courts, for those who know, basketball courts, they duct tape the rim, the hook pieces, so that those nets don't come down. So you'll see individual strips of duct tape across the rim. It's to keep the nets up, so they don't have to keep constantly replacing them. They also have in a store, they already told me, that they're going to start buying in bulk with nets. Because basketball players shouldn't have to keep, like myself, shouldn't have to keep providing nets. This is a good thing, man. That's why I wanted to leave this news for the end. Because no matter how much you can tell me a bunch of damn joke accounts as far as I'm concerned, that I'm not a good fan, or that I really don't care about sports, or this nature, I'm outside making moves, while you sitting online talking shit.